everybody, we are back and we are gonna finally show off Samurai Jack, the battle through time without D, by Aeshmah, who's gonna do any percent Jack. I don't know who Jack is, but I think Aeshmah is gonna explain it. So good luck, Aeshmah.
You don't know who Jack is? Can I have another host, please? Like, what is this? No.
Mies is there. We can
What?
get Mies.
Oh, my lord. Hi, guys. Anyway, yeah, as Russia just said, we're going to be running Samurai Jack Battle Through Time on Jack difficulty, which is the easiest difficulty, as you can see here. We're going to be playing from a new save file, so we are not going to do New Game Plus where we inherit all of our previous abilities. We have to start fresh. With me, I have...
Hello, my name is Recolt, and I'm the world record holder in not playing this game.
That is good to know, so you definitely qualify for commentary, I suppose. Anyway, I think let's get this show on the road here, because we're sitting here for about an hour. Time does not start yet, so just give it a moment to load here. And as soon as I skip this cutscene and press this button, time will start. So let's get ready in 3, 2, 1, go. Thank you. So quickly for all those who may know the series, because I think a lot of you, except Rashla, actually know what the hell is happening here. This game actually takes place at the end of the series. So at the end of the 5th season, the last episode, where Ashi and Jack actually go ahead and confront Aku again. And once again, Jack is sent back in time. So this game is basically another retelling of the whole series in a way. So you might see some things that, well, may seem very familiar to you. Now, as you can probably already tell, this game, is kind of a battler from the game mechanics and whatnot we're going to see here, which makes absolute sense because this game has actually been developed by former, let me just kill that guy here, Team Ninja employees. So if you know Ninja Gaiden, and I'm not talking about the NES games, I'm talking about the PlayStation and Xbox games. Yeah, those guys developed this game, which actually translates into the battle mechanics a little bit. Because this game is actually not that easy. Even though it may be marketed for kids, they will definitely have a lot to chew through, especially if you're playing on the higher difficulty settings. But for now, we're just going to make our way through these Robo-Beetles. And we are going to go ahead and pick up our first upgrade, which is actually a forced upgrade. I'm about to get to that in a minute. We're going to go ahead and get the Kiai attack. Now, you can think of the Kiai attack as our special move that we can do once the flame in the lower left corner of the screen fills up. Just like that. Going to kill one more of these beetles here, wait for the respawn, and then we'll do this. Now I have to use all my Kiai in order to do that. I actually missed probably one of the respawning enemies. Because after every fight you get this close on Jack telling you, yay, he actually did beat all the enemies. And we continue on to the next area. And we will grab the most important skill in the whole game, which will be the Rushing Guard. Why is the Rushing Guard so good? Well, simple. It allows you to not only rush at your enemies a little bit, being able to close the distance more. During the whole animation, Jack is also blocking attacks, so you're basically invulnerable during that time, making fights a little bit easier. But more important than that is the attack that you're able to do once you go out of the Rushing Guard. And it's this attack that we're doing right here. The nice thing about this is actually it has a lot of tracking on it, so you can actually hit multiple enemies with a single attack. It deals a good amount of damage, and it's just generally very safe to use, which is great for a speedrun. And the fact that we can get it so early in the game just makes it an absolute treat to get. So you will basically see this attack a whole lot, and its cousins if we actually use another weapon type. So for here, we're just going to go ahead and pick up our first ranged weapon, because there are actually a lot of different weapons in this game. This will be the Kaiken. It's a mid-damage tier throwable weapon. So the other 3 throwing weapons will be the Shuriken and the Reapers, but more on those 2 later when we actually get them. For now, it's the first stage of the first level of the game, rather. So we're just gonna go ahead, kill off all these crocodiles. Couple survived, so let's get rid of them. So generally, you have to go ahead and defeat every single enemy before the next wave will spawn, and you are allowed to continue. So I'm not just doing that out of fun. I actually have to go ahead and do that. Throw a kick into these two guys, and then go back, take care of these respawning enemies. They blocked. That is not good. And we are off to the very first boss fight of the game, which will be against the Scotsman. Now, he again is a returning character of the show. One, actually counting out my hits there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be enough. I actually do not have my Ki attack. I just noticed that. So this will actually be a pretty slow fight, because normally you can just do 6 to 7 hits on him, then use the Ki and immediately end the fight. But since my Ki didn't recharge, I actually have to go ahead and fight him the normal way, which I haven't done in a long while, so this may take a minute. So he should be long dead by this point. Well, not dead specifically, but defeated, because he is our friend after all. You know, we just have to beat him back to his senses here.
It's a cartoon show.
It is a cartoon show after all, yes. A lot of robots that we gotta kill there. So another note to take about this game is for the leaderboards, you actually go by IGT instead of RTA timing. So, you know, while this is a marathon setting, and obviously the real time is of the essence here, for the leaderboards, we don't care. So I literally could go to a menu, because the IGT actually pauses there, and stay there as long as I want to have a look at my notes, and it would have absolutely no effect on leaderboard timing. Obviously, since you're on a marathon setting here, I can't exactly do that because we have a schedule to adhere to. So I'm going to try my best to make the menus not take as long. However, I will probably take just a little bit to make sure I actually grab the right skills and stuff. Because obviously, if I grab the wrong ones there, I might be in a little bit of trouble, putting us even further behind time. And I definitely do not want that to happen. For now, though, we are in Boone's castle. You may recognize this level from the show as well, where Jack and the Scotsman actually go to rescue the Scotsman's wife. We will never see her in this game, sadly, but we will see a lot of their daughters. And oh my god, he has a lot of daughters. That guy was busy. Yeah, that guy right there. Another thing to keep in mind for this game, or this run rather specifically, is there will be a lot of resource management. There are a lot of different resources that you pick up, like the Spirit Fire, which are these blue orbs that we pick up. Those are basically your general resource in order to be able to... These ones right there. These are your general resource in order to upgrade your skills, or buy upgrades in the first place. Then there is also Bushido, which will be the green flames that we can pick up, and that is basically the most rarest resource in the game. There is a very slim chance that enemy will even drop that. You are generally supposed to break your weapons in order to get Bushido. More on that a little bit later. And it can be not exactly a run killer, because you generally should be able to pick up enough Bushido to grab all the most important skills. However, in order to go really fast in this game, you want to have a lot of Bushido to be able to grab these more powerful skill upgrades a little bit earlier, or rather at the earliest possible moment. And then, of course, there is money. We need money to buy upgrades from the shop that is run by the Samurai, also another character you may know from the show. And, you know, there is still stuff like ammunition for our ranged weapons. And all of that is up to chance. So there is a lot of RNG going on in this one. And you have to not constantly check your status screen to see where you are at, but you do want to have certain upgrades at certain thresholds. Sorry. Okay, can pick up the money here. And we will buy some more upgrades right here. And you can see the cost in the lower left corner. I'm grabbing the luck skills here simply to, you know, increase my chances of actually getting a lot of enemy drops. So that just eliminates the RNG at least a little bit, making this a little bit more consistent. Sorry, have you watched the show?
I've watched a few episodes, but nothing too big.
All right.
It's also been at least 10 years.
It has, yeah. The show ran, I think, in the early 2000s, something like that. And about 12 years later, it actually got a 5th season to put a canon ending, like, on the whole show. Because, you know, it has been in limbo for quite a while in the meantime. And things were just clamoring for a resolve at the end of it. And it actually got delivered, which was just awesome. We'll actually see a lot of that in the later parts of the game, because, once again, this game is basically a retelling of some of the episodes of the show. And they obviously took a lot of inspiration from Season 5. No, I still want the Kaiken. So here we pick up the bow, which is one of the ranged weapons that we can get in the game. Well, the bow is actually, or the bows rather, are actually quite paramount to this speedrun, because we actually need them for quite a few boss fights, or rather mini boss fights that are coming up in a little while. But for now, we just continue making our way through Boone's castle. A couple more enemies will spawn in just a second. And you can see here the game actually transitions between two modes of operation. You have your normal 3D environments where you can run around and do your fights, but you also sometimes have these 2D segments where I can literally only move left and right. There's basically no back and foreground here at the moment. So I literally just hold right to traverse this whole section. And hey, stop doing that. That is not nice. That loses me time. I'm a speedrunner. I don't want to have to deal with that.
Yeah, we have a tight schedule to run.
Exactly. I mean, it's not like at the end of the run, Aku will send us back in time so this run doesn't happen, now will it? Would be kind of interesting, but that is not how we operate in this corner of the world here. Another thing you may notice is that at the end of every fight, all the pickups are actually sucked into Jack, so I don't have to run around and pick them up. However, money and ammo pickups do not work that way. And since you're on the marathon, I want to make absolutely sure that I grab all the money I can get, because it can be a little bit of a bottleneck. Now here we're doing the first skip. I'm going to be jumping on these branches to traverse the mountain just a little bit quicker here. However, these hunters have ranged weapons, and they can just knock me down whenever they please. This was a very good climb. Normally, this may take a couple tries, because these hunters have basically anti-stormtrooper aim. They will hit you. And every time you get hit by a ranged attack, you get a lot of knockback. Because, you know, as I explained earlier, this game was developed by the Ninja Gaiden developers. And they love their knockbacks. Like, if you've played those games, you are kind of knowing what you're actually getting into here.
Well aware, well aware.
It is not fun. Like, if these guys start stockpiling up on you, you are going to have a rough time there, buddy. All right, we'll just continue making our way up this mountain. I don't think it actually was part of any part of the show, but I might be wrong there. But these enemies definitely are. Over. Getting a lot of Bushido pickups, which is actually pretty nice. I might be doing really good on Bushido here, but we'll see. So coming up, we have the first shop of the run, which again is run by the Samurai, and we can get skill upgrades anytime we want, just from the menu. Item pickups are exclusive to the Samurai.
Oh, that's this guy already.
And we will pick the Power Bracelet, which actually increases our damage by just a little bit. So I think it's between 5 to 10% or something. And that makes it a little bit better, you know, to plan out our attacks. Now, this is the last fight of the second stage. We just go through all of these enemies here. I tried to go for the clusters of enemies just to get rid of all of them like this. So I don't have to use a rushing guard for a single enemy like every time. However, I actually have no control over the targeting of the rushing guard itself. I can just, you know, point at one enemy, and then it's up to chance if I will hit any others. So those are the enemies. These are the mini-bosses. We'll just use one ki attack, get rid of both of them at once, and then we are up to the boss of the second level already. Now, you may notice that all of these robots, like these beetle drones specifically, they have a capsule-shaped hitbox, like the body looks. And what I can do with that is I can wedge Jack between the ground and the hitbox, and just do the rushing guard attack like that. But you actually don't see the attack at the end, because hitting the, well, hitbox, or getting squished between the hitbox and the ground, cancel out that animation, letting me attack this guy like really fast if I just time it correctly. All right, that was the second stage. Now, during these boss fights, I actually picked up a couple more weapons, because not only can you use your magic sword and your samurai fist, as Jack has been known to do during the cartoon, you also get a lot of other weapons, but all of these other weapons actually have a certain amount of durability. So if I start using them, think of them like Diablo weapons, where they start breaking after a while. And obviously, if they break, I don't have access to that weapon anymore. I would have to get a new one from somewhere. But anytime I break a weapon, I get a large amount of Bushidos. So we strategically route in certain weapons that we are going to break in order to hit the Bushido thresholds in order to get our upgrades. All right, and for now, it's just a little bit more running and talking. Rushla, do you have anything for us to plug?
Of course, but at first I have a €5 donation from 8-Way Funds saying, always hyped to see one of my favorite games being ran. makes me want to do a run right now. Crush it, Aeshmah.
Thank you, thank you. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay.
Funds is another speedrunner of the Ghost of Tsushima, I want to say. Samurai Jack, sorry, speedrun community. So yeah, go ahead, get a run in.
Yeah.
The leaderboards are waiting.
Get that world record.
But not from me. Okay, sorry, Rasha, go ahead.
Of course, like the donation that we still had, you can put those donations towards certain donation incentives. Like at the moment we have for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, I don't know the runners, well I know one of them, one is Kaito and the other one I don't know, which is about dropping McGonagall down the stairs. And at the moment we have raised so far 50 euros for that donation incentive, and we need 50 euros more, so we're halfway there. For Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you have the chance to pick the character, and at the moment we don't have any donations towards that goal, so you can pick like Yoshi, Waluigi, Peach, Mario, Luigi, or Donkey Kong. And we also have another donation incentive for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is for the Wave 1 DLC. Well, I know the Wave 2 DLC released like very shortly before this event.
Last week, yeah.
Like Week says. But we are going for the Wave 1 DLC, and we need to raise 500 euros for that. And at the moment we are only at 5 euros, so there's still enough there's still enough time to make that happen, of course. And do you want me to continue, or?
Just a moment here. As you saw, I made a little bit of a gamble here, trying to pass these blocks a little bit quicker than I was actually supposed to do, and they hit me back into the lava twice. So obviously that it was not supposed to happen. So we're just gonna make our way carefully through here this time. So third time's the charm, I suppose.
Yeah.
Coming up, we have a new enemy type, which is going to be the Stone Warriors. And they have a rare drop, which will be piercing arrows. So let's see if we can actually get some of them. It doesn't matter too much if I get it or not. It will just make the next mini-boss fight a little bit quicker. And sadly, we didn't get it. So we just have to go ahead and do the normal strategy. Because coming up is a recurring mini-boss in the game, which will be Demongo. Again, if you know the show, you might know this guy. And yeah, he will show up a bunch during the run. And the way you're supposed to fight him is he will summon enemies, hopefully 2. It's only 1. That is not what I want to see. So I will wait for that enemy and basically wait until Demongo hopefully puts out another one as well. Because if you kill enemies here, they drop these orbs. Now I'm on a little bit of a timer here. I will wait, because we have these orbs lying around, I'll wait for Demongo to appear again, and then I'll use my Ki attack, like this. Hopefully hitting both of the orbs like this, and that will immediately get rid of all of his health. So what is happening there is, when you use the Ki attack with the fist... Oh. Okay. I was wondering, why isn't he disappearing? Because he still has a sliver of health left there. So what is happening during that fight is, if you kill an enemy, they leave behind these soul orbs. And you're then supposed to attack these to basically reflect them back at the Demongo and deal a lot of damage. However, if you use the Ki attack, it deals all of its damage in a single frame. So not only does Demongo take damage from the Ki attack, he also takes damage from the orbs that get reflected back to him, dealing massive amounts of damage and instantly killing him during that fight. Here you have some more enemies that we are gonna get rid of. Also, another thing you might have noticed, we are actually in the Cave of the Ancients right now. It's another part of the show where Jack goes, or is lured into a fiery cave by somebody calling out to him. And that's exactly what we're doing at the moment. We're trying to chase down that special someone, I want to say, at the innermost part of the cave. Obviously, we have to go through some traps on the way. Again, all of these things actually happen in the show, more or less. So you might actually recognize a lot of the environments that we are going through at the moment, which is pretty neat. They really did pay a lot of attention to the details and recreating the show as best as they could, which is a really nice treat to see.
For a fan of the show, this would be a really cool...
yes, it is.
The whole game would be a really cool
absolutely,
collection of...
Absolutely. Like, if you like the show, you know, you will definitely have a treat playing this game. Now, to be fair, when I played it first casually, I hadn't watched the show either. So I only watched it like a long while after the fact. So I had already completed the game. So, you know, there was basically no nostalgia for me the first time I played through it, which was a little bit weird, I gotta say. I mean, I still loved it. But, you know, it just did a little bit of appreciation more that you could get out of that. Just wasn't there for me. However, now I've actually went ahead and watched the show, and I like the game even more now.
For you, it's like, yo, it was in the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically the other way around for me.
Which is legit as well, of course.
Absolutely. Ah. Yeah, I hate this third part here. I can... Okay, now it's stopping. All right, I'm making it work. Now here is a pretty long drop, and there is actually fall damage in the game. However, you can cancel out of the fall damage by doing the second jump of your double jump. So we specifically wait until we're very close to the ground before doing our second jump here in order to not take any fall damage. Since we're playing on Jack difficulty, we actually do get a second wind should we lose all of our health. So even if I were to drop down here all the way, I would still be able to survive that. However, on the higher difficulty settings, that is actually not the case. So you have to be really peculiar with the double jump there. Now coming up is the boss of the third level. Since I still don't have any piercing arrows, I don't think. Oh, I actually have to make sure, because I forgot about that earlier, that I go ahead and grab the throw ability. That is critically important for this fight, because what throw allows you to do, if you are about to kill an enemy, basically, you know, it's on its last hit, you can equip your samurai fist and throw the enemy, and you will actually grab their weapon. And that is how mostly you would get other weapons.
Ooh.
And we specifically want to get the hammer that the big guy is wearing here, because it is the best hammer weapon type in the game. And obviously, I want that for my arsenal. So I have to be a little bit peculiar when we go to the last stage of the fight here, so I don't over-damage and kill the big guy. So just making absolutely sure that as soon as he kneels down, you can throw him, and you grab the hammer, and the fight is done. All right. Moving on to the fourth level out of a total of 9. And this is my least favorite level in the whole game. It is the Undead Cemetery. And as you can imagine, you know, it's a cemetery, so of course we are gonna fight a lot of zombies here. Let me just make sure that I actually have the right stuff equipped.
I assume they have a weird gimmick like coming back to life quickly.
Something like that, actually. They don't exactly come back to life per se, but since they are zombies, you know, they like to live underground, going back into their grave, so to speak. They're basically undead ostriches or something, and they are completely invulnerable whenever they bury into the ground. So it can take a very long while to actually go ahead and kill these guys off. So just like that. There is nothing I can do about that. It is completely RNG if they do it and for how long they do it, and it can just lose you a massive amount of time. So they are a pain to fight. Now, one thing to kind of get rid of that is to use range attacks and, you know, just kill them at a distance, hopefully. But of course, that is not exactly consistent as well. So, yeah, it's just a mess to fight these guys. So one thing we try and do to mitigate that a little bit is to knock them up into the air, because obviously, as long as they are in the air, they can't do anything there. But yeah, you only can do that against one of them at a time. And since you're generally fighting a lot of enemies at once, you know, you just have to go piece by piece through all of that. And I guess while all of this is happening, this would be a very good time for some donations.
Yeah, that sounds very good, because we got a €3 donation from Miss LWD. It's actually written down like that, saying, two legends sitting next to each other. That cannot go wrong. World record, here we come. Shoutouts to the runner and co-commentator for this amazing run. Keep up the pace. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mies. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Misa. Thank you for reading Harry Potter. The host is actually playing Harry Potter 2 right now for his race.
Oh. See, that is dedication.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Mies runs a lot of horror games during this marathon. So if you are, you know, into The Evil Within or Silent Hill, stuff like that, go ahead and check that guy out. He's great. But for now, we're just continuously making our way through the cemetery here. This was actually a very cool episode in the show. You know, it was one of the first big standoffs between Jack and Aku. the evil mastermind, I want to say, of the series, which Jack has to fight at the end. And it was a really great episode. Sadly, you know, this level is just what it is, I suppose. But hey, you know, zombies, they just come in masses, making for some good fights, I suppose? I don't know. Alright, getting rid of these guys. Another thing to keep in mind is that even though you may fight the same enemies over and over again, they actually have different amounts of health. Like, the rule of thumb here is to know that the more enemies that I'm fighting at once, the less HP they have. And the fewer enemies you fight at once, even though it might be the exact same enemies you just fought before, the more health they have, which makes the fights very dynamic in a way. Because you know, okay, I'm fighting a lot of enemies, I can just use the rushing guard, as I do here and did before, to get rid of a lot of them, or, you know, go for a cluster of them and hit like 4 or 5 of them at once and kill all of them. If I'm only fighting like 4 guys total, that might not work, because all of them might actually survive my attack there. Also, I just love some of the camera angles this game provides, because it looks really cinematic in a way, you know, as if you actually were playing a part of the show here, in a way. Looks really good, actually.
I do agree. Like, the whole art style definitely lends for it.
Yeah, it really pays homage to the show itself, for sure.
And again, with Team Ninja behind the ropes,
Yeah,
you know you're in for something of at least good to decent quality.
absolutely. I mean, it's not exactly Team Ninja that developed it, but ex-employees of them.
Oh, okay.
Another thing you have to do here is this wooden bow has a durability of 200. Every shot attack with an arrow takes 10 away. And I want to specifically get that to 10 durability, so it's 1 shot away from breaking. So I actually have to count out my shots here. So I have 50 arrows. I can go down to 31. As long as I don't pick up any other arrows, obviously. So let's see if I can make this. All right. Now I want to stop using that, because we need that a little bit later. Because basically what happens here is, as I explained earlier, when you break a weapon, you get a large amount of Bushido. But that is not all, because the last attack that you do with the weapon before it breaks, or when it breaks, however you want to look at it, deals 5 times as much damage.
Oh.
That is a lot.
And you want to keep that for a boss.
Exactly.
That is some really clever routing.
It is, and that is what makes this run really interesting, because that will happen multiple times throughout the game, basically, that we set up at specific points to set up our bows close to breaking, and then use them to just demolish a singular boss. Because what you also have to keep in mind, if you're using a bow, you can obviously go for headshots, and headshots deal double damage. And, you know, the damage increase that you get from breaking the weapon stacks with that. So instead of dealing 5 times or double as much damage, you actually deal 10 times as much damage, basically instantly destroying that boss. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this fight was not going well. See, that is exactly the reason why I do not like these zombie enemies. They can just burrow in the ground, you lose track of where they are, they can hold you down for as long as they want as well. It's just a miserable experience to have. But hey, you just gotta deal with it, right?
Gotta do what you gotta do. And that's being the Grim Reaper right now.
Kinda. It's actually true. I actually never made that connection, but it's kind of fitting for the occasion, right? Being on the graveyard. Huh. It's true. Interesting.
Now you can never look at this game the same way again.
Yeah. Ruined. I'm not Samurai Jack, I'm Reaper Jack. You know, because of the economy, he has to get the second job now to afford your weapons and stuff.
At least they work well on the zombies.
Fair enough. I mean, you know, it's thematic in a way, I would say. But as you explained before, you have to defeat all the enemies here before you can continue. And depending on what they do, this can take a short while. So let's just go ahead and try to make the best of it. Another thing to keep in mind is you may see these red flames pop up when you hit an enemy like that. You know, you kind of saw it there for a short amount of time. If you see that flame when you hit an enemy, it actually means that you are hitting the weakness of an enemy, because every enemy type, I want to say, is weak to a specific weapon, type. So you can kind of get in just a little bit more damage, even more. It's not a thing that you really have to pay attention to too much on Jack difficulty, but it is just nice to know if you plan to play this game on higher difficulty settings, where the game is way harder than it is right now. Not saying that it's easy, but, you know, easy at the moment, that is. But still, this game can totally kick your ass, especially in the highest difficulty setting, where there are just a lot of ranged enemies that can just ping-pong you between them because of all the knockback that is going to happen. Alright, they're going into the temple here. This will be the last part of the 4th level. So once again, we're just trying to quickly get rid of all of these zombies here. Let's hope they stay above ground as much as possible. Okay, that was actually pretty good. Kind of impressed with myself there. Now, one thing you see me do is after I use a rushing guard, I generally tend to throw any throwable weapon that I have equipped at the moment, just to get in a little bit of more of DPS and cancelling out the recovery frames that the rushing guard has at the end. Okay, here we go. We fight Demongo again. You know, it was the mini-boss in the last level as well. Changing some settings here, and now I will be equipping the near-to-close breaking wooden bow with the piercing arrows. Take aim, and that was the boss fight. Thank you, thank you. But we're not quite done with the level yet, because the real boss fight is just a portal trip away. So this is the Banshee. We use our Ki attack. Oh, that was bad timing. She should actually be close to dead by now, but apparently she used her special attack, which gives her a little bit of damage reduction, so this fight might actually take a little bit longer. There we go. All right. 4th level done.
Nothing too bad.
Yeah, we can work with that. I mean, it's a little bit time loss all over the place, but still good enough. All right, on to the 5th level, and this is where things will start to get interesting, because, you know, remember, we're playing from a fresh save file here, and we finally have enough resources to basically buy the best skill in the game, which will be Jump Good. It has a funny name, but it's actually a callback to another episode of the show where Jack learns to jump really, really high. And that is basically what that ability allows you to do. You are able to jump really high now. And let's just say it kind of breaks the game, if you know what you're doing. But first of all, we have to make our way through the sewers here, get rid of a couple more beetle drones. And as soon as we leave the sewers a little bit later into the level, things will get a little bit more, let's say, interesting. And for now, we're just going to make our way through here. And that is where I actually use Jump Good for the first time. You basically crouch down, and you get a higher jump than you would normally do. However, when you do that, you can still do your double jump, giving you even more height. And, you know, some clever guys of you might know already where this might be going. But I will just hold out on any commentary for just a little while longer here. So taking care of these guys. Stop blocking, please. That loses me time. Thank you.
Just beating up some alligators, which you will find in the sewers.
Exactly. I mean, it's really thematic in a way. Because there are actually a lot of them down here. I mean, who has never heard of a sewer alligator, right? And also exploding beetle drones? I suppose. I mean, you know, it is the future.
A bit rarer.
Rarer, but still might be a possibility. I just love that jump down. You just instantly kill like 4 to 5 enemies there. Feels so good to pull that off. But yeah, as you can see, enemies are actually able to block your attacks. That again is totally up to chance if they do or do not do that. And it just loses your time every time they do it. Like, you hate to see this blue shield pop up above or around your enemies. Because you know, oh yeah, that was a time loss. Stupid life-killing enemies over here. So we'll be introduced to another enemy type in just a moment here, which will be the Imakandi Hunters, which are actually, you know, a bunch of basically alien bounty hunters sent by Aku to take care of Jack. These guys here. And they have a lot of health. They are basically mini-bosses in their own rights. However, they have the they have a chance to drop a lot of Bushido. So, okay, we got Skillfire. That is not as good. Because Skillfire is generally the resource that you get more than enough of over the course of the run. So every time... See, 200 Bushido. That is a lot of Bushido to get. So we might be really good on getting all the upgrades that we need for the run a little bit sooner than expected. Alright, we are very close to getting out of the sewers here. So just gonna make one quick stop with the Samurai. We actually have to go ahead and repair the Ancient King's Mace because we absolutely do want to make sure that we do not lose that weapon. That would be a fatal error, basically. So we didn't do that. And now we go ahead and break the game. Because normally we are supposed to go through all of this city part of the level. However, we can just go up here. Jump on the invisible platform here. Jump on this sewer pipe. Onto this. Over here. Oh. Make our way up around to this part of the level. And I have to be a little bit sure because there's a drop here. Okay, jump on this house. Over here. And back here. And as you might guess already, we are now out of bounds. And we are basically on top of the sewer levels that we just passed. And we are making our way basically backwards through the level to probably the point of origin for the map. Because in a moment here, keep a close watch to the lower right corner of the screen once I pass these next two jumps. Shouldn't have to fall down there. You can see it down there. That's actually a model of Jack T-posing for dominance. And we think this is the origin of the map, because why else would it be there? I will align myself between the model down there and this thingy, and then do a jump good, followed by a double jump. I will pause buffer just a little bit here. This will load in another part of the map, and we now basically skipped half of the level.
Good stuff.
So what basically allows us to do is, of course, the jump good ability, coupled with a double jump. But if you use your sword, the magic sword specifically, to do 2 slashes in the middle of those, it gives you just a little bit more height, which then allows us to completely break parts like that. Because, you know, obviously the developers didn't intend for you to gain just a little bit more height with those 2 slot slashes. And, yeah, well, the invisible walls from that point onward just work in our favor, so we can bypass a lot of stuff. And that is why this run, now that we are in the second half of it, will take off quite a while, because we will basically do something like that in pretty much every level going forward, skipping large portions of the levels. And we can't do that during the strain ride, because there isn't a lot of to skip here, so we just have to go ahead and do that the normal way. But if you've been watching the show, you might know what's going to happen here, because there are 2 very specific characters. Am I missing somebody now? That show up when Jack has a train ride. I always forget about these enemies here. Don't know why, but I do. Because here is Zeke. Zeke is the boss of the 5th level, kinda. But he is, hello. What the? Very annoying. Okay, let's grab just a couple more skills here while I'm at it. Because why not? I'm in the menu anyway. Damn, I have a lot of Bushido.
Yeah, you got like
wow, I
200.
only have to grab this ability more, and I'm only 400 away. I might even be able to grab it during the next level. That is phenomenal. Oh. Anyway, we want to do this, where we knock over Zeke, and then just push him into the corner and continuously knock him over. Because once he gets down to half health, he will keel over like that, and I can throw him, and that ends the fight. However, that wasn't the end of the 5th level yet, as you see right here, because, you know, we don't get a result screen. Because he will be back, and he will be back a lot of times. It is really annoying. Like, I don't know why they did that, but you actually have to fight that guy 4 times during the strain, right? And every single fight is the same, so I have no idea why they did that. but it's just something I have to deal with. We also have to deal with Josephine, which is his wife, ex-wife, wife again, whatever. It's complicated, okay? And yeah, she uses her parasol as a weapon. Same thing though, we will trap her in the corner and then bully her for a little bit. There is Deke again. I will actually just use my Ki to get rid of him here. Because what can happen during this fight specifically is you can see these barriers to the left and right. These are solid for me, but they are not solid for Zeke, so I could actually hit him off the train car here, and I would actually have to wait for him to get back up again, and then just loses you a lot of time. So we'd rather just use the Ki attack to get rid of that battle instantly. But this is the third time we're fighting him now, and now it's the same thing over and over again. Wait for him to keel over, like that, and throw him, and that is done. And now we are off to the boss fight of this level, finally, where we will just go ahead and fight both of them at the same time. Like I said, I don't know why we have to fight him as often as we do. Like, I think once for each of them and then once together would be good enough, but nope. Zeke is just a very persistent guy. So all I will do here is just, you know, kill Zeke as we did before. I do have to watch out for Josephine a little bit because you saw her shooting me from behind. And the problem here is that now that I have the rushing guard and the parry ability, if I get attacked while I'm doing the rushing guard, I will actually perform a parry. And then I won't do this roundhouse kick ability, but another attack. And that will not kick Zeke down to the ground. So it's a little bit finicky to do this fight, actually. Okay, it's only Josephine left. I actually do want to go ahead and grab her weapon like I did with the Ancient King in the third stage. So I will have to pay attention to when she keels over the next time. That should be enough. And there we go. We got Josephine's Parasol. We ended the fight. And we actually do not want to use the Parasol as a weapon. I only want to get it so I can sell it because it's worth a lot of money. And since this is a new game, speedrun, we actually need a lot of money to be able to buy our upgrades. And I think it's actually the weapon that gives you the most amount of money if you sell it, so that's kind of nice. I'll actually go ahead and equip my Samurai Fist here again, make sure I have the right things equipped. That should be good, yeah. Now we are on the 6th level, and by Jack changing his outfit, you can basically tell that we are now in, well, basically the 5th season of the show. You know, we've had a couple of episodes now from the earlier season, but all of the last few levels are based around the last season of the show. Because, let's face it, that last season was good. Like, a lot of people really liked it. It was still a little bit different than the show before because it dealt with very much more mature themes than the early episodes, but I really, really loved that. And this is also the level where another fan favorite enemy will show up, Scaramucci, baby! And he will be the boss of this level. Sadly, we won't see a lot of him during the run because obviously we're going to skip a whole bunch of it. Because, well, you know, we can go out of bounds now if we choose to. So let's just make our way through here. Deal with a couple of hunters.
Or statues, they did nothing wrong.
Sorry?
The statues.
Yeah, I mean, they basically block your progress with levels. So, yes, they did nothing wrong, but they also did.
They existed?
Yeah, but basically. I don't like them existing. Let's just put it like that. Hey, look who it is again. It's the manga.
Hey,
now we actually didn't break our bow this time, but it's enough to just have 2 quick shots with the bow, and it will drop down, then 2 more, and he's done again. So we don't actually have to go ahead and break our bow for this particular fight because, well, he just leaves so quickly. And I actually got... Oh my god, I'm so close to getting that already. This is phenomenal. Anyway, we are going to go ahead and sell a bunch of our weapons that we picked up previously because we don't need them anymore. We just need the money. I don't need this, but I do want to get another hammer training. This, again, increases our damage that we deal with hammers. So since we're going to use the Ancient King's Mace a whole bunch, that is very useful. Now we're going to buy the Reapers. These are the best throwing weapons in the game. And we also buy the Great Power Bracelet. And that should be everything. Oh, right. I can also buy some power potions that we need a little bit later. Okay. With that out of the way, I will go ahead and equip that. Oh, yeah. I always forget to pick to actually equip the greater power bracelet because I always buy it and then I just never equip it. It's like, why even bother, dude?
You just want to play on hard mode.
Yeah, maybe that will teach me.
Even though you're playing Jack mode. What are the differences between the
difficulties?
Yeah.
It's basically you actually face different enemies. Like if you were to play on Master of Masters difficulties, which is the highest difficulty setting, you would actually face other enemies during these encounters. Like even in the very first level of the game, you know, Aku's Mines, like way at the beginning, you would already face enemies that are from way further in the game, which are obviously way tougher. And they are just tougher overall. Like you deal massively reduced damage. I'm not sure if they even have more health or it's the same amount, but all the fights just take so much longer to get through. Like, for example, it took me about 3 to 4 minutes in-game time to go through the first level. If you are playing this on Master of Masters, somebody actually did a speedrun without any upgrades through a cheat engine, and it took about 40 minutes, which is about as long as this speedrun takes as a whole. And you can kind of imagine how much tougher it just is. I mean, the game is laid out in a way that you are supposed to play it on the lower difficulties first, and then play on the higher difficulties with all of your upgraded abilities, because you can take everything from one difficulty to the next on a New Game Plus. So you're actively encouraged to do that. Also, I hate these guys. They can just, knock back you as often and as much as they want to, which is bad. Now here, I will throw these beetle drones because I can also kill them with that in order to farm some more Reapers, because as I just said before, these are the best throwable weapons in the game. So I just want to take a moment to farm some of them, because I will need a lot more for some upcoming boss fights and stuff. I actually lost track of my count here.
11.
So okay, that is more than enough then, thank you.
12.
I need about 10, I think. So let's go grab the Bushido, and it's time to go out of bounds again.
Assuming you're talking about the deaths of the...
Yeah, that is perfectly fine, because every single death of these guys basically equals 1 Reaper. So that just works out. So normally I'm supposed to go all the way to the right there, fight another mini-boss. We're not going to do that. Then we're supposed to go all the way to the left here through that courtyard, which has a whole puzzle going for it. It just takes a lot of time. You know, I don't have time for that, so just... Oh, okay.
But hey, you can jump good.
I can absolutely jump good. Nope. I always have problems with this skip. I don't know why. Ponton, the former World Tour is probably laughing at me right now again, because I always mess this up a little bit. The time that I didn't mess it up, I actually got the world record in this category, so you know how it goes. Anyway, we are on to the boss of the 6th level, which is going to be Scaramucci. Oh, there he is. We're just going to use our Ki attack once again. Use the rushing guard, throw some Reapers in between to stun lock him. And that was the fight. And we are on to the 7th level. Now, once again, if you know the show, you might recognize this part. We are now near we are in the snowy forest near a specific temple. And this is where Jack meets the Daughters of Aku, which is a group of highly trained individuals. Come on. That are chasing down Jack in the name of Aku to, you know, try and stop him once and for all. So you might already know where this might be going. Well, again, just taking care of some normal enemies here. Obviously, they block a lot, so I'm losing a lot of time. Please and thank you, don't do that. Now, I have to admit, though, when I first played this game, like casually for the first time, I didn't quite like it as much because, you know, something just didn't really click with me. Obviously, I like the callbacks to the show for some reason, even though I hadn't watched it yet, but I just like the overall aesthetic and stuff. However, that drastically changed once I actually started speedrunning it, because that speedrun is just so good. It's just a lot of fun to do it, even though it can be a little bit rage-inducing from time to time, when enemies just keep on blocking your attacks and you just keep on losing time. But it just makes the overall experience like so much better. I don't know what it specifically is, but I enjoy my time so much more if I speedrun instead of playing it casually.
Is it trying to get better at it?
Probably, yeah.
That's what takes me back to games.
And something just clicked, you know. So these are 2 of the Daughters of Aku. There are, I think, 7 or 6 in total. I always forget the exact number. So obviously we're not fighting all of them for now, but part. This fight goes a little bit faster if they stick close to each other, so I can actually go ahead and hit both of them at the same time. They're kind of not doing that this time around, so this fight will take a little while longer. But we still managed to get rid of them. Oh god, oh my lord, I actually have enough Bushido already. This is phenomenal. So with the increased Ki attack, I am now able to...
Do double the Ki attacks?
Exactly,
KI?
exactly. Basically, you know, so far I've only been able to store up one Ki attack, and every Ki that I got after that was basically wasted because I can only store one. I can now store 2 of them and, you know, use them whenever I want to, which is a huge boon because, you know, the game is obviously getting tougher as we get into the later stages of it. So being able to store up 2 Ki's for a couple of the boss fights coming up is very good. I don't think I've ever been able to get that upgrade this early in the run. Normally you get it like in the next level at the end of it, or even in the very last level. So we are doing very good on RNG this time around. Wow.
I'd love to say marathon luck in a positive way for
Yeah,
once.
absolutely. Okay, we are gonna buy more Reapers here. We are also gonna buy more arrows. And a wooden bow. And a couple, or another power potion, and then obviously we're gonna repair the Ancient King's mace again. All right, very good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and equip that wooden bow with an arrow. Yeah. Oh wait, how many arrows do I have? I have 81, so I can get down to 62. So once again, counting arrows here, because we are going to set up another weapon break. If these guys would actually let me do my things. Great, I hate it, thank you. Okay, so that is another thing that can happen here. Jack always aims for the enemy that is closest to him, even if he can't actually hit that enemy because he is underground. And I hate it.
Just an oversight.
I mean, come on, Jack, right? That guy is underground. Why are you aiming at that guy? What did he even do to you other than bury into the ground? I mean, I don't like it when they're buried into the ground as well, but come on, dude. There's nothing you can do about it anyway. Just let it go. You know, we are in the snowy forest. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So this is actually the very first skip that the community in the game found, hence why it is called the elephant statue skip. Why it is called that way? Well, I will show you in just a second here. First of all, we have to get rid of these enemies. We're gonna destroy this statue. And then it will reveal this hole in the ground in the back. And you might already kind of be able to guess what is gonna happen here if it's called the elephant statue skip. Because obviously you're supposed to go down into the temple further. However, we can just go ahead and use this block here and get back up again. And that already deloads a lot of the level. Ooh. So instead of going all the way, you know, downwards through the level, fight a lot of more Daughters of Aku and other mini bosses and even more fights and stuff like that. You can see the arena down to the lower left there. We're just gonna go out of bounds. Down here. Now we're gonna make our way down this river. There's actually an invisible barrier in front of me. I can bypass that by going to the right over here. And then load into the trigger for the boss fight of the level. Now we have fight the Daughters of Aku in earnest. I'm just going to go into the middle here, use my Ki attack. Hopefully that kills them all. It did not. Okay. So every time you kill one of them, you get this cutscene of them basically dying, which, well, loses you more time, just like that. But, you know, only one of them survived, so it was still a good fight. And that was the 7th level, and we are now into the penultimate level of the game already. Time just flies. And this will be the prison ship. We generally tend to hate this level because it still has a skip in it. However, it doesn't save as much time as the other skips that we did so far. But more importantly, we get introduced to the worst enemy type in the whole game. If you watch the show, you might already know what I might be hinting at, but it's gonna be Lazarus. I'm unsure if all of the slugs are called that way because I think they all originate from him, but, you know, it's the big slug guy. It's just a pain to fight, because basically think of that, you're fighting a big slug, and that big slug can split into smaller slugs and so on and so forth. And they can do that however often they would like to do, if you don't stop them, obviously. And it's just a massive time waste.
Yeah, for sure. So what's the big idea into defeating them, or just
Just hit them until they die eventually.
okay?
There is just really nothing else you can do there, other than hit them and pray that you kill them quickly. We also get introduced to the ninja enemies here. We actually would have fought them in the 6th level for the first time, but since we totally skipped over the part where you would actually face them there, we never got to see them previously, which is kind of nice for a speedrun anyway. But first of all, making our way through these enemies that we've already seen before. Shooting a couple more. Because, hey, guess what? I'm already setting up another bow for a break. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And there are the slugs. Now, these aren't so bad. They are very far away. I can just use my bow to sheath all of them individually. So you don't really know why they are just bad this yet, but here they are. This is just... because you are on this slanted ground, you can't really use your rushing guard that good. And what happens here is that Jack likes to land on top of them. And if you land on top of an enemy, Jack does this weird attack from up above, which is kind of nice that he does it, but I would just rather be on the ground and be able to line up the next rushing guard anyway. So it just totally messes with you if that happens. And guess what? It's slower too. Also, fun fact, all of these portals have a hitbox around them, so you actually have to jump through the hoop. If you hit one of the blue circles around that, that actually knocks you back. It's... why? Okay, here's the manga. You might already guess what's going to happen here. I'm going to break my bow. I'm going to shoot more arrows into his head, and that was the fight. And let me tell you, if you don't do that, if you mess this up, the fights against him are miserable. Like, you may have seen what happened in the 3rd stage of the game, where I had to fight him normally for a little bit. But every time you face him, he tends to summon more and more powerful enemies, and that can just spiral out of control in the later levels of the game. You do not want to have to deal with that, trust me. So these are the big slugs. They can spray this acid at you, which you cannot block. They can just, like I said before, summon smaller slugs, and it can just go on for a while. So if you're fighting a lot of these enemies, oh boy, you're not going to have a good time. Anyway, we're making our way deeper into the prison ship here. And in this next room, you are actually supposed to go ahead and find 3 control rooms where you can go ahead and hit a switch each, indicated by the red lights over there, over the door. We're not going to do that, because that takes time. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to jump up here, jump good over there, double jump, slot slash, and we are through the wall. And that skips, like, I want to say between 3 to 4 minutes of running around the level, finding these control rooms, finding more enemies, hitting the switches and whatnot.
Assuming you know what to do.
Exactly. I would much rather fight more slugs, I guess, like these guys. Ugh. Yeah, you can see it there, he just summoned more of these slugs without doing or getting damaged in any shape or form, so they can really just do that as often as they like. Like, why? Preservation of mass and all of that? Like, what's going on there? Anyway, we meet the samurai again. So... let's make sure we buy more power potions. Just a second. And more reapers. That is important. And we're just going to go ahead and repair the Ancient King's Maze again. All right, there you go.
Well, of course he's here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't he be? I mean, I have no idea how he made it here, but okay.
He didn't have to fight the slugs, at least.
Yeah.
That's what I know.
He probably found a secret entrance or something. I actually never thought about that. Yeah, that's kind of fishy, to be fair. All right. On to the last few fights of this particular chapter. What do I have equipped? I have the leaf bow. Yeah, I'm just going to equip some normal arrows because I want to try and get the durability on that bow down as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gonna hit these guys. Oh, I already heard the sound that we are kind of close to maybe Rick. Oh yeah, that is also something that the ninjas can do. They can summon shadow images of themselves, so you have to fight even more enemies in order to finish the fight, which is just lovely. Absolutely. Oh, he did it again. Like, dude, chill. What the hell? Okay. Kinda made it through. I'm just gonna grab the money because why not? Like I said, this fight is just miserable because you're fighting both the slugs and your ninjas, so you kind of actually don't know what do you want to hit first. Like, you know, do you want to get rid of the slugs first because they can summon more of themselves? Do you want to get rid of the ninjas first because they can kind of do the same thing too? So it is really pressed for priority targets here. All right, made it though. Okay, this is where you buy the heroic power bracelet, an even bigger upgrade. We're also gonna buy more potions of power. Buy more Reapers. I'm gonna repair my Ancient King's Mace. How are we looking at durability? I have 4 shots left on that bow, so keeping that in mind. And yeah, that is everything that we can buy here. I'm gonna go ahead and equip these there. So 4 shots. We're gonna fight Lazarus again. However, we're just gonna run up to them, use our Ki attack, and whoop! That gets rid of him completely. Thank you very much. And then we are on to the boss of the prison ship, which is gonna be Evil Ashi. You know, she's kind of our girlfriend. However, her father, Aku, kind of made her bad again. So we have to go ahead and knock some sense into her once more. Don't do that in real life. You know, guys? Just, no. Only do that if an evil overlord takes over the mind of a girlfriend or something. But that should really be the exception in real life, I suppose. Okay, gonna hit her a bunch more. Oh, wow, okay, that was timed poorly.
Sing me the song of your people.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, and there we go, that was the Ashi fight. And we are now on to the last level of the game.
Yeah.
Imagine that. And it's gonna be Aku's Tower. So this is gonna be a big old gauntlet of a lot of fights after another. There are basically no more puzzles that you have to do. It's basically 4 rooms that are chock full of enemies. So let's see how this goes. I actually have the bow equipped, right? Yeah, I have. So 4 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that is enough. Yeah. Like I said, these are basically just gauntlets of enemies rushing in. We've seen all of what is going to happen now. I guess they should have explained everything that's going to happen now. You can basically see what's happening on screen. I'm going to go ahead and equip specific weapons for the fights. So, yeah, Rashla, if you have anything to plug or anything, this might be your chance.
I always have things to plug.
Nice.
Like I talked earlier in this run about the donation incentives, but if you donate towards the donation incentives, like you would donate 25 euros, you have a chance to win one of our great prizes. We have a Pikmin plushie, we have a Rayman plushie, we even have a Nidoking Pokemon plushie. And we have a Rayman painting and some of these prizes were actually sponsored by Renabo, and I personally want to thank Renabo to sponsor these prizes, because Renabo is a plush maker and game developer who is currently working on Floating Wonderworld, a retro-style 2D puzzle platformer that uses gravity to solve puzzles as you progress through several different stages. Follow @FloatingWonder on Twitter for updates.
All right, coming up, we have Dimongo again. I guess you can all guess by now what's going to happen. I'm going to shoot his head. And then equip another bow and just keep shooting him until he is dead for the very last time. If you don't get that initial shot, this fight can take a while to get through. It is the single biggest time loss you can have in this whole stage, because normally if you're running for, you know, a world record times, you can finish this level in about 5 to 6 minutes. If you have to fight this guy, normally it can take up to 8 and more. And this is going to be the last shop of the game, so we're just going to load up on power potions. I actually cannot hold anymore. Holy hell, I have not been using those, have I? Buying just more stuff for the coming fights, because once again, this is the last chance that we get to buy stuff. So I'm just going to load up on everything I can, because once again, while I'm in the menu, the IGT doesn't advance, so I can just take as much time as I want here. Obviously, you know, marathon setting, I want to get through this rather quickly if I can still, but just making absolutely sure that I'm set for the last couple of fights in the game. You know what, we might as well just... Oh no, I don't have enough money anymore. Yeah, that should be good. So we are just going back to the slaying of enemies. So yeah, Russia, go ahead and continue.
Well, I want to thank ESA for supporting this event and for allowing us to stream on their channel. We would like to remind you that aside from the BSG events and their own marathons, ESA hosts many other events across Europe, including the British UKSG, Hackathon and more. So be sure to drop a follow to see whenever something is live. And actually speaking about UKSG, I can't really find the text for it, but oh yeah. They are actually gonna host their own UKSG Autumn 2022 in Glasgow that runs the 3rd and 4th of September 2022, and they'll be raising money for Crisis. And actually a question for the runners, are you guys gonna go to UKSG or not?
He is.
I will actually gonna be there, yes, and I will actually be running this game again there. So if for some reason you missed something or you just want to go ahead and see it again, well, in just about 2 weeks, you can actually see me do that at UKSG.
And I'm definitely planning to go at one point again. But for now, I'll enjoy from a distance.
That's fair enough for sure.
I've been there once before. It was a really good time.
I'm just really looking forward to seeing a couple of familiar faces by this point, because it's always fun hanging about with these guys. And maybe I can even play more board games with Striker at that point. I mean, he is still around here, but I rarely had the time so far, so I gotta make good on that. Also, I still have a Haggis date with Argeek that I'm very much looking forward to, because I've never had Haggis in my life. I've actually never been to Scotland, so that's gonna be fun. So yeah, this is basically the last room of enemies in the game. How this works is you are facing 2 small enemies and a big one. There can be a maximum of 3 enemies in the room at once, and these smaller guys just keep respawning for a set amount, so you're just trying to get through the respawns as fast as you can. Well, yeah, you just see me use the rushing guard attack of the hammer like over and over again, trying to get rid of these guys. Again, I'm canceling with the throw of a shuriken. Actually, you know what? I should go ahead to the Kaiken because it deals a little bit more damage. So this is the second wave now. We're fighting these guys instead of the stone warriors. And they are just trying to absolutely murder me here. Why are you doing that? Why are you evil guys? Okay. A rushing guard doesn't come out here for some reason. That's strange. I'm just liberally using my power potions now because they also... Wait, speaking of power potion, I forgot to equip this again. Oh my god, I was thinking... Like, did I equip that 3rd upgrade or didn't I? I did not.
No.
How dare. See, that is my problem. Like, every time I buy these things, I just buy them and never use them. Kind of like a lot of people do with their games at this point, I guess. Like, we all have like a massive backlog of games that we want to play at some point. We just always forget about them or something else to do.
Blame the humble bundle for that one.
I kinda am, yes. Alright, getting rid of the big dude. Hopefully, eventually. Maybe not. There we go. Let's wait for him to finish his attack. Please die. There we go. Okay. That was all of the fights. We are now into the final boss fight of the game, which is obviously gonna be against Aku. You know, we finally trapped him down in his towers, so time is coming up very shortly. We just have to make our way... Oh, okay, that was bad. Up here one final time. The way this fight works is I want to throw a lot of Reapers at him and wait until he throws fireballs at me, because I can then stun lock him if I do it correctly. Oh. Hate the laser start. Come on, dude. Stop it with the dodging. Ah, come on. That can't be... Oh, he already summoned ninjas? What? Okay, I've never seen him summon them this fast. Okay.
He knows he's on BSG.
He wants his... this is going poorly. Okay, let's try and go for... Okay, that's good. Can I get the second one in? And... time. Alright, yeah, this fight can be a little bit janky depending on what Aku actually does during the fight. So yeah, it can be, you can lose a little bit of time, especially if he starts to do these firings around him. But yeah, that was the game. I just want to go ahead and thank BSG for having me once more during this marathon. I actually have 2 more runs coming up tomorrow and the day after that, which are going to be Onimusha and Ghost of Tsushima. I'm basically showcasing all of my samurai games minus Trek to Yomi, which I did during BSD 35 2 months ago. And thank you so much for the Samurai Jack speedrun community. You are a lovely bunch, especially to Ponton, the former world record holder in this category. Because why doesn't he hold the world record anymore? Because he taught me so much about this run that I was actually able to beat him at one point. Like, he came to every one of my streams whenever I streamed this game and told me, like, hey, you're doing this a little bit wrong, you can optimize this a little bit more, and just kept doing it and doing it and doing it until I was able to actually beat him by about 12 seconds or something like that.
He built his own trap, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. But it gave him now an incentive to actually start running the game himself again. So, there's a little bit of give and take going on.
That is just, like, it shows a lot of love for the game.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he runs the game a whole bunch in different categories even, so he's just an overall great guy to have. You have anything, any shout-outs?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
All right.
I mean, if you want to see my run, I'll be in 2 days with Xenoblade.
Oh, that is also fantastic speedrun. The third game just came out, and I heard nothing but love of people for that particular game.
And a lot of cries because I can't play this week.
Aww. Yeah, I mean, that is, the give and take with speedrun marathons. So if you love Xenoblade Chronicles and you may not know what, the first game of the series might be about, I guess that is your chance to find out what will happen there. All right. And I guess with that, let's keep the show going, and we're out of here. Until then, bye-bye.
Well, thank you, Aeshmah, for that amazing run. And I finally know who Samurai Jack is. But I'm not going to explain who he is because we need to keep going. So next up, we have a guy and a game that I really know. We have Cruel with Quirk. But first, we're going to the intermission, so stay tuned.